Well, today I'm going to do something a little bit different than microgreens things or housework. And I'm back here in the old garage with my toy, which is filthy, so don't mind that. But what I'm going to be working on today, hopefully I can accomplish this tonight, is carrier bearings for the drive shaft. This thing has 2 carrier bearings, and they're ones that are on the car. This car has like 190,000 miles on it, so they are totally gone. The bearing itself, I think, tends to be fine, but this rubber is what really gets weak over time. And I was under the car a little while back and inspecting it, and the drive shaft, I mean, you could just really wiggle it pretty bad. So, one of the worst parts about this job, one of the worst parts about anything on this car, is getting it off the ground. That's just the part I dread. It's a kind of a pain in the ass. It's kind of low. Not low compared to you kids out there slam your shit, but it's low. So, get this up off the ground. Probably want to spray the bolts down. Show you guys what we've got to work with. Hopefully this will go good. Alright, I got the beast up in the air. And before I start working, I figured I'd show you guys what's going on here. So this here, that's your carrier bearing right here. What's left of it. This thing it's worse than I remember it being, actually. Look at that. I think that might contribute to the little bit of banging that goes on in the car on a decel and acceleration. Yeah, I think it might have something to do with that. Here's the other one. Not as bad on a first appearance, but yeah, it's totally gone. It's wasted. Alright, so sorry about the camera focusing. It's a cell phone. So I've got to pull the bolts back there for the flange that holds it to the rear end. And I got to pull just the nuts on the carrier bearing here. I haven't sprayed them up yet. They're actually not that bad, but I'm going to spray them anyways, try to make it easier. This one is even less bad because these cars always had oil leaks. And I can see that I've got a little something going on up there. Check out, see right around there, it's all wet. So that's another project, but I might give it a look, see how it's already up in the air. I always keep a jack under the car. It's just kind of a little extra thing. This car is so freaking heavy, and when it's on the ground, it's so close to the ground, I'd never feel totally safe underneath it. So I'm going to spray those up. I'm going to see if I can take this drive shaft out. And the rest of the work, for the most part, will be from outside of the car. And we'll see what kind of crap that's going to turn into. Always try to work smarter, not harder. I hardly ever will pull hard on a wrench anymore. Grab a little hammer and break it loose. It's a lot easier than, messing around all the time. Just having wrenches slip, busting your knuckles up. If you got something you can leverage, use the leverage. I got my one wrench sitting up against the exhaust pipe here. Got my dead blow hammer. Makes easy work of it. I have air tools, but it's not even worth pulling them out for this. I just assume do it the hard way. There it is. It's out. Now I left the yoke in the end of the transfer case, and I unbolted it right here because I thought it'd be a lot easier to break those loose under the car. Probably wasn't, but it wasn't hard either. So I've got to take this big nut off. It's in there. Then I've got to pop this flange off, and then I've got to, I'm assuming, press this bearing off. And that's going to be probably fun. We'll see. Maybe I'll get lucky. It won't be hard at all. Then is this joint here, which is called the Lowbro joint, I think is how it's actually, that's weird, but that's how it is. And I've got to take this apart, and it's all full of grease in here. And then I believe there's going to be a nut on this flange, just like there is on the other end. And then I'll pop that flange off and pop this bearing off, or press that bearing off. So I'm going to try it with this on this big nut. I sometimes have really good luck with this this Craftsman Impact. Let's see if it'll work for me on this with one hand. Put a foot on it. Can you believe that? Took it right off. All right, now I'm gonna have to figure out how to get that off and go from there. There's a washer in here. Yeah, there's a washer in there. You should be marking these things before you take them apart to make sure this gets lined back up the same spot on the shaft. I'm not gonna bother, and everybody can tell me I'm wrong, but I'm not doing it. I'm just gonna take it apart and put it back together. So with how bad these bearings are, anything's gonna be an improvement. All right, we'll see if I can get that off. Sweet. Not bad. I'll check that with a breaker bar, make sure it's actually really tight, maybe back it off, hit it again, make sure it's all the way on. But yeah, that's basically one. Now for the other one. It all came apart a lot easier than I thought, and you saw the pictures of how I pulled it apart. I basically used the puller, and I pulled the rubber right over and off the bearing. And then I was able to get the puller on the bearing itself. And it came off really easy. You wouldn't need a press to do this, which I do have a press, and I didn't really want to have to jig it all up. Worked out great. This job's going well. Now for that part. And just like that, boom, new carrier bearings are all installed. The Lowbro joint's all tightened back up. The only thing left to do, which is a huge mistake on my part, is I have to get these old bushings and crappy hardware out of the old carrier bearings and reuse them in here. When I bought these carrier bearings, I remember seeing an option to buy hardware, and like an idiot, I didn't buy the hardware. So I'm gonna make do with what I have, get them all bolted up, and let's see what happens. Now I know you probably can't see for crap, and neither can I. My light's dying, but carrier bearings are all in, completely done. Drive shaft's much more stable now, no more floppy jalopy. This side's all done. Much better. It still moves like the way it's supposed to. You know, it's supposed to have some give. It's just not supposed to be, you know, flopping in the breeze. So, all right, just got back from a really short test drive, and I can tell you the car feels a million times better. if you're considering doing your carrier bearings, you have a car that could use carrier bearings, do it, because it's definitely worth it. And while I'm doing just a short little video at the end, you can see behind me, it's a project car we're working on, 72 Challenger 340 4-speed. If that's something you want to see a little bit more videos of, you want me to, document some of that work, let me know, and we can do that. All right, thanks for watching.